Right, thanks for meeting me and having time to chat and everything. But congratulations on Dreaming Whilst Black, by the way. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So you've seen it, yeah?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really good. I really like it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to like start off with a couple of questions, just like my background and everything, and just to get to know you a bit more.
Yeah.
When you were younger, did you like aspire to be in the media and entertainment sector, or did you want something else? Or like
No, not at all. Not at all. I thought I was gonna be an NBA player. So
oh really?
yeah, like I love basketball. I still do love basketball, but that
Yeah.
was my dream. And in terms of getting into the industry, it was a bit of like an accident. I kind of fell into it. I used to do graphic design, and then I started doing t-shirts, like having like some cool funny slogans on t-shirts, and then I made an advert for the t-shirt.
Yeah.
I just filmed like a comedy sketch, and that comedy sketch kind of went viral. And then I was like, oh my gosh, the videos are doing way better than t-shirts. So maybe
That's
maybe
so good.
I should change my career. But that was when I was about 18. 18, yeah.
Nice. And when you started out, like where did you showcase your work? Like
on YouTube. I think YouTube was a massive platform for me. I think I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that platform on YouTube and being able to put out content and have just create an audience myself, you know? So yeah, YouTube was where I put all my content. I didn't know about film festivals or anything like that. Yeah.
And like what genre would you say you like enjoy working in the most?
Oh, comedy. I love comedy. So comedy drama is like the main genre that I like to work in. I also like doing documentaries, working with people as well. But in terms of film and TV, I would say comedy drama, where the line's a bit blurred.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. What I like to watch and make sometimes doesn't kind of match up.
No, I get you. So like who or what inspires you, would you say?
I'm heavily inspired by music. I would say like a lot of my inspiration comes from, you know, some of my favorite tracks or artists such as J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. So I think music plays a big role. Other films as well, just people doing amazing things, and a lot of people that are around me. I think I'm heavily inspired by the relationships I have with people, my friendships and all of that. You know, I get a lot of stories from people around me all the time, and I always find sneaky ways to put them within my content.
And what would you say your like biggest achievement so far since you started out was?
That's a hard one, because I don't pay attention to the achievements in a way. Like, as soon as something happens, it's amazing, it's great, but then I'm like on to the next. And it's not because I'm not happy with where I am. It's just I just see it as the journey. Like I'm enjoying the journey and just trying to keep things moving. So I don't get hung up on like certain achievements that I've had, but I've been fortunate to win some awards and things like that. But I can't think of one specific one. Sorry.
That's fine. But so you said that you made some documentaries like initially. Do you think social media made them like more accessible to young people when you started doing it?
Yeah, I think social media definitely made content that I've been making more accessible to young people. And the main thing is that when I was making content, I was doing it because I didn't see myself or you know, my culture represented on BBC in a way. So like there was this urge to just create things so we can have things that we like to watch. So I think YouTube and the fact that cameras were cheaper and equipment, you know, and editing was a much easier process. Made it more accessible for me to make the content, but also for people to watch it. So I really feel like it definitely changed the game for us as filmmakers.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So I read you were born in Zambia and grew up in northwest London. Would you say that you took much influence from your upbringing in different places?
Yeah, like I don't remember Zambia when I was because I was there when I was 3. I have like small glimpses of memories, and I've been on holiday to like Malawi a couple of times. But in terms of what I've taken from my culture, I think I grew up in a very African household, like Zambian. Both my parents are Zambian and Malawian, mixed and stuff. But I mean, I think just that upbringing and those family values or African values, I would say, or Zambian values, or that culture definitely played a part in who I am today, I would say. From, you know, from the food to just how you interact, how you see things. I definitely feel it influenced me.
Yeah, and would you say it influenced your work as well, like when you're directing or writing things as well?
To influence my work, you know what? I think so, because early on, actually, a lot of my sketches were with an African comedian called A. Comedian, and we used to do a lot of sketches. And some of my first sketches were like Nollywood inspired. And although I'm not Nigerian, you know, it's a lot of my work was very heavily African inspired. And I think so I do think it played a part into what I liked, what I found funny, what I wanted to speak about. But in most of my current work, a lot of it has, I think there's more that I want to do. And I think in my documentaries, I have done stuff where it's been in Africa, but I think there is more that I'd love to do.
Yeah. What kind of things would you like to do future-wise?
Yeah, I think more documentaries, more real life stuff, and also more things that speak on, more things that are influenced by African stories or African perspectives, and just putting that, maybe mixing that with you know, like a Western kind of vibe or something. But I just want to be able to put more of the culture within the content that I'm making. And that could be done in so many different ways, whether it's like including the locations, I don't know, like set design or music, or just kind of finding ways to involve it more involve that culture more in the stories. Yeah.
And like, have you ever had any like critics of the work, or like have you ever had to like overcome things that people have said that's like push you back or just push you forward even?
Probably, but I wouldn't know. I don't I don't pay attention. I'd put, you know what, like I just used to put stuff on YouTube and then just leave it and then just go on to the next one. And so I don't really, like, it's only when sometimes you might go, oh, let me see some comments, and then it's inevitable, you'll see some stuff. People love it, some people will hate it. So it's like, the way I've dealt with that is just to keep things moving, go forward, carry on going forward. And it's just like, if you've done your best, then that's your best. That's all you can do. Like, so it's also like taking the value of what people are saying, if there is value. You know, some people that have comments or thoughts about your work, and some of it might be valid, some of it might be true. You might be able to take value from that and evolve and change. But I think just I don't hold it close to my heart and let that affect me too much.
And like, when you started writing scripts, you find that you like follow a specific structure, or does it kind of just come to you naturally, like, and then you structure after? Or
so when I first started, I didn't really have a structure because I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally just writing about things that I enjoyed, and as I started to work more within the industry and work with more experienced producers, they had advice and they had you know, advice around structure and how to tell stories,
Mm-hmm.
which led to me feeling like, oh damn, like there's a side of this that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a way to tell stories.
Yeah.
So I just done my own kind of work of, you know, reading books, learning about different story structures,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to learn the basics.
Yeah.
And I think that evolved my writing. So if I write a script now, I might, instead of just going into it and just writing, I would write an outline.
Yeah.
I might have an idea, then I'll write a page outline or something, and then it would outline the story from like act 1, act 2, act 3, and then I might break it down even further with scenes, and then I'll go into scripting. So yeah, I think there's a lot more structure that I have. I think I was scared of it before. I think now I kind of embrace it, because I know that it can still change whilst you're writing, you know.
And what would you say, like when you were like doing Dreaming Whilst Black, what was like the main point you wanted to get across?
I think because I never wrote Dreaming Whilst Black, I directed it. My main thing, or my main vision, was to honor Ajani and Ali's words, like as what they had written, and also to honor the web series that was made prior to me taking on the series, the TV series. So for me, the message was already in the work, and it was for me to kind of amplify that through a visual tone, style, music, how it looks, and also grounding it in reality and trying to not make it too loud in the comedy where it doesn't feel real. So I think that was my main thing, to honor the work and do that.
And did it like get reworked a lot from like the web series?
To my knowledge, so I wasn't involved in the writing process, but to my knowledge, I know that it went through a lot of drafts. So they had to, you know, they scrapped some early drafts of the script and kind of had written it over and over. So I'm very sure they've done a lot of drafts to get it to the place that it is now.
And would you say like you interpreted your personal experiences into like the atmosphere of the moments when you were like directing?
Yeah, I guess so. I think in places, I think whenever I'm making stuff, I always kind of draw from my own experience. And if I haven't experienced something, then I would either do research or work with the actors to see how they feel and try and pull that out through them. Like it's a collaborative thing. But I mean, so for me, it's just always about making things feel real. So yeah, I'll draw from anything. I'll draw from anything to kind of make it relatable.
And so I got really connected to the character and his like personal life and his workplace, and like I was just wondering what exactly you wanted the reaction of the audience to be like as a team, and like was it to understand racial inequality that happens on a daily basis, would you say?
I think that could be one of the layers. I think the way that the story has been developed and the way that Ajani and Ali wrote the script is to write it and leave other people to take what they take from it, right? But I think that from looking at the feedback on Twitter and how people feel about it, like a lot of people feel it explores, and it explored a lot of things in that one episode, in terms of things that people of color, specifically Black people, might go through in the workplace, or how it is to balance a 9 to 5 and your dream, whilst also, you know, even how it is to be scared to approach someone that you might like, you know. So I mean, I think it explores quite a bit in the show, and I think overall I don't think it's just, you know, this is the message that they're saying.
Yeah.
Everyone can kind of pull what they want from it.
Yeah. And like, do you ever struggle to like find a balance between it being like comedic and like generally highlighting general ignorance of people? Or, like, that hard?
No, you know what? I think it's just because I was so sensitive to what the work was trying to say and do that I knew when things were meant to be funny and when things were not meant to be funny, or I had my interpretation of it. And fortunately that aligned with Ajani, who's the co-writer, the writer on the project, one of the writers, and he, you know, like we were aligned with when we thought things were meant to be funny and when things were meant to be a bit more serious or handled with care as such. So because it's easy to let those things kind of slip and make everything seem like a joke and make everything seem funny when a point needs to be dramatic, you know. I think that's one thing I really love about the show, actually, that it has these really comedic moments, but then dramatic moments as well.
What's it like working with Ajani?
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was really good. And I think for me, it was a learning curve because I've never directed someone else's work. Like I usually only direct my own work. And I think that working with someone, doing something with someone else's words and someone else's vision is a huge responsibility. It's a different responsibility. I think directors always have that responsibility, but when it's not yours, and you didn't live with it first, it's slightly different. And I think that experience of doing that with Ajani was really good, especially because we have a relationship prior to shooting. So I think it was a good experience. And just to see how his mind had to work with being an actor whilst also being a writer, producer, and just being on set and seeing how he had to manage that just taught me how to also manage that with other actors that I might have to deal with that have that are doing multiple things like that, you know. So it's just good for experience for me.
What do you think like the main things you've like learned over the years being like that have stuck with you and like you use every day in your work?
That making TV is very different to YouTube. It sounds like silly to say it out loud, but I think there's things that when you're making stuff by yourself independently, there's habits that are formed and there's ways of working that you might have that is going to be completely different when you start working within TV and a bigger machine. Number one, you're working with loads of people, so there's a lot more voices. Number two, there's like layers of approval for things that you might not be used to, because when you make something on YouTube, you can just cut it up, put it up, you don't have to speak to anyone, it's up. Do you get what I mean? And there's those aspects of it that it takes a bit of time to be able to get used to that, especially if you're a certain personality type as well. If you're someone that is maybe like someone similar to me that is just always just kind of taking things into their own hands, right? So that's one aspect of it. And I think the other thing is probably just learning, I think the experience of learning how to be more comfortable with actors, working with actors closely, learning how to get performances out of people. I think those are things that you get from experience. So that's something that I can look at and start to see how, as I've grown, how things are easier to articulate or do when you know more. And I think it's I think those are some of the areas that stand out to me in terms of directing.
And do you feel like networking is quite important in the industry? Or?
Yeah, 100%, especially earlier on in your career. I think once you reach a certain level, it's slightly easier in terms of like you might get an agent to introduce you to someone, or like there's a different way of networking. But I think earlier on in my career, networking was vital, helped me a lot with so many different things, even with, you know, just corporate jobs or doing stuff for the government or youth organizations. I used to network at, you know, like events and speak to people, give them my card, and then that job that they might give me for a job that I might that won't be to make a film, it would be to make a business video. That money I would use to invest into Upshot and create my short film. So I think and also those relationships are I still carry most of them till today. So I think networking is definitely a vital skill, and you just need to learn how you can network, because I know it's intimidating for some people, and I was one of those people that just didn't like it at first, but then I learned my way. And even if it's just walking around in a network event, better than just staying in the corner. You get what I mean? It's better to at least you might attract a conversation by walking around and smiling at someone and walking around and smiling or whatever. That's better than just sitting in one spot, you know? So that was one little trick that I found for myself early on.
And like, can we expect like a follow-up episode coming along, or?
Yeah, hopefully. So it's a pilot. It's all up to BBC Three now, so we're just fingers crossed, and hopefully they commission a season. And if they do that, then I guess you'll see a couple more, maybe 6 or 5 episodes. But right now we have no clue. So
going with the flow. And what would you say your like aspirations as a director, writer, and editor?
I think for me, it's probably to just enhance my career, like carry on involving, learning and growing, and doing you know, like more TV shows. I do want to get into features heavily. So that's one aim for me, to do some feature films. But it's just to continue on this path and just carry on growing. I think if I just continue to do the best that I can do, then then hopefully that's enough for some of these aims.
Definitely. And for like aspiring directors, would you give them any advice? What would that be?
I would say just to continue, like, don't stop creating. That's the biggest thing for me. I think I've always been the type of person that would make stuff on YouTube and use that to get an audience or get excitement, so then I can use that to get opportunities, right? And I think that the more you create, the more, you know, people see your work, they'll understand what you're about, the more you'll attract opportunities, instead of knocking on all these doors of broadcasters or production companies that might not be interested in working with you. I would say just continue finding ways to create, you know, even if you have to work another job to be able to fund the films. Like, that's my method. That was my method, and that's what I would say.
And when was like the moment you decided like this is what you want to do from now on, kind of thing?
I think as soon as I made it a business and I started doing the YouTube videos and we started getting a lot of traction, and I saw a gap in the market for this kind of content, I just thought, I just need to stick to this. And I think it's just been one of those things where now the older you get, the more you realize it's about stamina and just staying on that path. Like, I've seen so many people fall off, and so many people that weren't seen to be someone that would excel because they stayed in. And I think it's just about sticking to something.
Yeah.
So for me, can't remember your question, but that was meant to answer it. What was your question?
I've got a few. I'm not too sure.
Somehow that answer it kind of answered it. It was meant to go full circle, but I couldn't remember the exact point. But yeah, hopefully someone gets something from that.
Yeah, that's all good. And you said like you wanting to do more like features. What kind of features? Like documentary features, you say?
Yeah, no, like comedy dramas. Like I would either want to make stuff like okay, so some of my favorite films are like Superbad or Get Out or
I get.
And then I might like things like Black Panther, you know. So I mean, it could be a superhero film to something like Get Out. Like it could be anything. I think it's just about what story's being told and if it's a great story. But it literally could be anything. I don't have too much of a preference. So I would say either high concept movie or comedy drama, probably.
Yeah. And just the last question, really. Do you have a fun fact about you? Any fun facts?
Fun fact. What's class as a fun fact? Let me think.
Any fun facts? Could be anything.
Oh man. Okay, I have a funny fact.
Okay.
Maybe I had no front teeth when I was until I was like leaving like primary school.
Oh really?
Yeah, the whole row was not there. It grew late because my teeth got pulled out when I was in when we just came from Africa. I think I just had too much sugar out there.
Oh no.
So that's one thing.
I get.
Not a funny fact, but yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you at the moment, but it was really nice talking to you and answering
thank you. Likewise.
Thanks for all of that.
Thank you. Likewise, it's been a pleasure.